All right, hello everyone and welcome to June Movement of the Month. So for the month of June, we are not going to be focused around one movement in particular, but we're going to be talking about physical activity in the midst of the functional wellness arc. Before we get into everything, I'll go a little bit into what the functional wellness arc is. So when we think about our lives and our health, there's a lot of different components to that. We have our physical health, which breaks down into our physical activity, what we are putting into our bodies. We have our environment around us and how it impacts that. We have our mental health, our emotional health, our financial health. So there's all of these different components that make up the functional wellness arc. For the purpose of obviously our newsletter, we're going to be centered around looking at the longevity of how we can improve our holistic health through lasting habits. So for movement of the month, as we dive into physical activity this month, we're going to really be grounded around consistency and consistency within a physical activity routine. For a lot of people, I find that this is the number one issue that rises up when we consider physical activity and staying active, is that consistency component. So we're going to go into a little starter tip, and then for those of you who already have a pretty well-established routine, we will dive into some tips that you can also do to level up your physical activity as well. So as far as starter tips goes, the number one thing that I will tell anyone in regards to getting started with some sort of physical activity is just upping your daily steps. So if for years you're someone who has been like, I need to exercise more, I need to lift more, I need to do something, and you have not found the time to do that, or the resources, or it just hasn't worked out, focus on just upping your daily steps. A minimum of 8,500 steps a day can do wonders for our health. Ideally, what we want is 10,000 steps per day. And if you're someone with a busy lifestyle, what that can look like is waking up and getting out for a walk. So tip number one for this month is going to be wake and walk. So you will rise up in the morning. What I like to tell a lot of people is set an alarm for every day of the week to go off at the same time. And you're going to commit when that alarm goes off to get up out of bed and go walk for 10 minutes. And that's it. Or move your body for 10 minutes. It could be 10 minutes of squats and then 5 jumping jacks. And so a variety of movements, you can fit that in, but just committing to 10 minutes of movement every morning is going to help establish that consistent routine. And when we look at the big picture, we take a step back. 10 minutes every single day, that's 70 minutes in a week, right? That's pretty great, especially if what you're doing already isn't even close to that. And then you can start to build off of that. So maybe you up it in the morning, you're doing 15 minutes, or maybe you're doing 10 minutes in the morning and 10 in the evening. That's 20 minutes a week. That's 20 a day. That's 140 for our week, right? So these small changes will build over time, but really that consistency, that building of that habit is what's going to be the key at success in our functional wellness arc. So that's a tip for my beginners. If you're someone who already has a pretty well-established routine, maybe you've been exercising for your entire life, a little tip to level up is really grounding yourself in your why before your movement. Having that direction, you're not just exercising because it's healthy for you or because it's good for you. Maybe you're exercising because you don't want to huff and puff when you're running around with your grandkids. Or maybe you have a goal. Setting a goal of, this week I'm going to center myself around mobility, or the next 4 weeks. That's going to be my focus, is mobility. Why do I want to be focusing on mobility? Maybe I want to be able to get up or sit for long periods of time without having that pain in my back, right? So really putting more of a why to our movement, not just doing it because it's good for us, but finding that reason or that goal that we are reaching for is going to give us more motivation. It's going to help us stay more dedicated, and it's going to add meaning to our movement. Again, that's going to build to our consistency and our lasting change. So a couple tips for June, take them as you will. Again, these are all things that I want you to adopt into your life as they are personable to you. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions or any concerns, feel free to message me or Coach Shasanta, and we can always talk about physical activity and physical health. Thank you. Happy June, everyone.